Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf, Active Visualizer channel. They will continue our lab, the Red Alert lab. This is the video number 19. I've been discussing in the previous video the following. We are continuing our documentation or best practices to secure our Windows 10 workstations or Windows 10 operating system. We are working with a recommendation or the documentation of the Department of Defense and the Defense Information System Agency of the United States. We have been discussing securing Windows 10 from these departments or from these two departments. They have issued a PDF or some recommendations to secure Windows 10. We have been working with securing Windows 10 for 2 videos now. This is the video number 3. So let's continue from where we have stopped. We have stopped at best, or the next recommendation is Orphan security identifier must be removed from user rights on Windows 10. Okay, here's the description. Accounts or groups are given rights on a system may show up as unresolved SID. So first, what is the security identifier? Okay, we can go and see a small explanation of what is the security identifier. So after that we will discuss what is an orphan security identifier. Security identifier is a unique number that a computer or domain controller uses to identify you. So every user or group or computer in the Active Directory has a security identifier. This is done so the domain controller can identify you. Okay, so it's a unique number that a computer or domain controller uses to identify you. So all of the objects in the Active Directory, users, groups, computers, all of these have security identifier or a unique number that is given by the domain controller, so it can identify it. Okay, so what is the orphaned identifier or orphan security identifier? If we can see here this description, it says that orphan security identifier, it is let me show you all something here. Orphan security identifier, it is something, or it is a security, or it's a unique number, okay, that appears, okay, when there is no computer or user or object no longer exists in Windows. What do I mean by this? For example, if you have a group policy, okay, to block certain users in your Active Directory to access a certain folder, okay, and this folder was removed. So you have a group policy, okay, and this group policy blocks or limits the access to a certain folder to a certain group. Okay, so what happens if the folder was removed or it was deleted? Here the group or the group policy, when you open the group policy and see the user that is attached to it, you will see it as a number. Okay, don't see the name. So how can we see this? Let me show you all something like this. Here we can see, for example, this account unknown. So here it appears like a number. Let's consider that this is a folder and you have limit the access to it to certain groups. Okay, so for example here, or certain user, for example here is a user called system, user called network services. Okay, so for example you limit the access to a certain folder to these two users. Okay, what about the others? We can see here that stated account unknown. Okay, account unknown. So we can see here that this is unknown. Why this appears? It should appear as a name. Why this appears? Because even, or for 2 reasons, even though the folder itself is not there or it's not shared anymore, okay, but the folder still exists, or the group or the user itself is deleted, it's not in the Active Directory. Okay, so for example, if you have a group policy, let me say it in another way. If you have a group policy and this group policy limits the access to a certain folder to a certain group, and this group was removed from the Active Directory, or this user was removed from the Active Directory, if you check the share folder or the shared folder setting, you will see that the account appears as numbers. Okay, so that means that this group or this account is no longer available, it is removed or it is deleted. So what is an orphaned, we'll turn back. What is an orphaned SID? It is a correspondent object, computer, user, or group no longer exists in Windows. So if you have a folder, for example, as I said before, and you limit the access to this folder to a certain group, and this group was removed, okay, or no longer exists, it will appear something like this. It will appear as unknown account and something like this. So what does this this recommendation says to us? Just a moment, we need to return back so we can go there again. So here, what does this recommendation say? It says that you need to check your Active Directory and check your group policies and check your Windows 10 users and groups to see, for example, if they have something like this. So I need to go to my Windows 10 users and groups and see if I have something like this. So if I go, I need to go to my Windows 10 and check if I have something like this. If I have a user was deleted or something and it appears something like this, I need to make sure, or I need to go to my Active Directory, okay, and check my group policies. So here I need to check my group policies, the local group policies on the machine. So here he's saying to us, we need to remove unresolved SIDs or orphaned SIDs, okay, and this orphaned SID appears as a direct action for deleting or removing a group or a user or computer. So how we can know this? We go to the local group policy on the Windows 10 machine, and then we go to the user right assignment and see if we have something like this S1 or something like what I have showed you here. So we need to go and see if we have something like this. We check it on the machine Windows 10 and on the Active Directory. So you need to see this. So the orphaned, first, the security identifier, it is a unique ID given by the domain controller to every Active Directory object, and the orphaned ID, it is an ID that appears like numbers, okay. This is a direct result for removing the object. So for example, I have a user account called Karim, okay. This Karim is given a unique ID, okay. Karim appears in the Active Directory by the name, not the number or not the SID. So if I open the Active Directory and go to the users, I will see my user appearing as Karim. So what if I remove this user? Okay, in certain situations when you open your Active Directory and open the users containers, you will see a number, okay, a number, not a name. So that means that this account is removed and this is a wrong SID or something. So not a wrong SID, it's already there but it's not completely removed, so it is appearing by the number, not the name. Actually everything in the Active Directory should appear as a name, not as a number. As a number, this is for the domain controller to identify you, but everything appears in the Active Directory as names. So what if one of the objects appears as a number? So that means that this object is removed and it's appearing by number. So let's check this, or let's see how he will give us a way or something to see how we can know if there is something like this. Okay, we need to go to the local group policy on the Windows 10 machine and check this section and see if we have something like this. So he is saying here that accounts or groups given rights on a system may appear as an unresolved SID, or appear as an orphaned ID, or appear as a unique ID, something like S1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, for various reasons including deletion of accounts or groups. So if the group or user appeared as a number or a unique ID on your, or displayed for you as a number, not by their names, that means that they are deleted. So these objects or group now appearing as numbers should be deleted from the system, because a hacker can use this kind of uncompletely deleted objects to gain access to the domain. Okay, so we need to do this. So we need to check and see what happened. So we'll go to the local group policy. This is on the machine or Windows 10, and we can also check the Active Directory itself or the domain controller. So let's see how this can be done. So here I think it is already not paused. It is okay. We will continue. And also he's saying that some domain accounts or groups may appear with unique ID because the connection with the domain controller is not established. Okay, so you can see this in your Active Directory. If Active Directory console. If this happens, that means that your connection to your domain controller is down. Okay, so this is one of the things also. So we need to go and see if there is unresolved SID on our POW workstation. So we will go and see. We need to check and see this kind of setting. So we will go, let's go and check the local group policy. So this is the local group policy, not the Active Directory group policy. Okay, not the Active Directory or not the global group policy. Okay, so here this is our POW workstation. We will right click and run, and then we will edit our local group policy. So we'll type this and press OK, and then we need to see this section, computer object Windows setting or computer configuration Windows setting, and then we go to the security setting, and then we go to local policies, then security or user right assignments, and then he is saying to us to check to see if there is any unresolved or SIDs appearing. Okay, so we need to check all of the setting in the user right assignment and see if we have any kind of this user. So for example, here we can see we have guest administrator, everyone, all of these are users, okay, or user objects appearing by their name. But here we can see login as a service. We can see here that there is orphaned SID. Okay, so this is, we don't know if this is for a user that was deleted or for a group that was deleted. We need to check. And by the way, some of the Active Directory users or groups appear in the group policy or appear in the group policy as numbers. Do not delete it. First you need to check and see it is referring to what, because some domain accounts or domain users appear like this. They don't appear by their name. Okay, so very careful, do not delete until you know exactly what is this ID referring to. Okay, you can check and see, and you can Google it on internet and see what this account referred to, and then check if this account is already there or not. Okay, so let's continue. So I will leave it as it is, I will not delete it, but here he is saying to us you need to make sure, for example, maybe this SID appeared because you don't have a connection to the domain controller. So if you delete it, then that means that the user will be removed and it's actually there. You cannot see its name, you see its number, because the connection to the domain controller is temporarily down. So you need to make sure. Okay, so we will continue. I have some like this appears actually, guys. If you sometimes when I want to delete an account or a user from the Windows, what I do like this, right click and properties. Okay, and then if I go to advanced setting, okay, I will show you one of the cases appearing for me, and then to the setting user profiles. If I go to setting, sometimes you can see in this section you will see some users, okay, appearing as, for example, here I have a user called Karim on the machine. So this is my user profile and this is the default profile. Sometimes here you will see some profiles or some users not by their name, by a number. So this means that this user was deleted from your system, but there is some remaining to this user. So you need to remove it completely or complete the deletion of this user. How can I know that this unique ID or this user is not on my machine and it's appearing by number, not by name? I need to go, if you click like this, I need to go to control panel, okay, and check to see if this user is appearing or not. So I can go to the user accounts. So here, for example, I can tell him manage another account. So here I have only the user of Karim. So if I see something in the profile users profiles other than Karim, something like a number, I can delete it without any hesitation, because I know that I have only one account on the machine. So this happens to me a lot. You can sometimes go and delete an account. You need to delete a profile or a user profile account from Windows. You see it as a number, so delete it without any worries, after of course checking your user account on the machine. Okay, so this is something to tell. Now we can continue. we'll go to the next, or we'll be continuing working with the so you can see this is a number. I don't know what number this refers to, but it's something important because it is login as service. I don't know if this account is available or not. Anyway, so we'll continue. So if you check all of the setting here, all of these, or all of the users, all of them are by names. This is the only one by number. Okay, so this is the only one that I am suspecting that it is for a user that was deleted. Okay, anyway, so we'll continue working with the other one. We can continue. Bluetooth must be turned off unless approved by organization. So if you have a laptop, you need to close the Bluetooth. You can close the Bluetooth when the user is connected to your domain network. If he is outside your domain network, you can allow the Bluetooth. Anyway, I think it's safe to close it completely, not to be used in your domain network or outside. So unless if it is approved by your organization. Okay, so we need to turn off this Bluetooth. We can do this using group policy, or we can use it, or we can do this by making, I think, by hardware or so. Anyway, it could be done using group policy. So let's see how we can do this. First of all, if I check my laptop or check my POW, you will see that the Bluetooth, it is already there. So turn off radio. Bluetooth radio is not organizationally approved. Establish an organization policy for use of so turn off Bluetooth radios not organizationally approved. Establish an organizational policy for the use of the Bluetooth. So even if you have the intention to use the Bluetooth, you need to make a policy for it to secure it. Okay, anyway, another recommendation is to close the Bluetooth while not in use. So if you will use the Bluetooth, you can use it for a certain purpose and then turn it off. So you can inform the user to use the Bluetooth for a certain amount of time and then close it. So it's not a best practice to leave the Bluetooth opened. Okay, so this is one of the things. If you will continue working with the Bluetooth, or you don't intend to close the Bluetooth, so you can leave it for the user, but he should use it for a limited amount of time and then close it. Okay, I will show you all a way that we can disable the Bluetooth completely using a group policy. This can be done. Okay, I will show you all how we can do this. It could be done using a group policy. I have searched the internet, so we can have a group policy to disable the Bluetooth. Okay, so this can be done. Okay, so I think I will search the internet. I will just pass all of this quickly. So let me show you all how we can do this. So we'll go to the group policy. Okay, and here is saying that, just a moment, you can say guide that, just a moment again. So here, if we go to one of the setting here, this is from Spiceworks. He's saying that you can do this, or you can close the Bluetooth by going to computer configuration, Windows setting, system services. Let me see how we can do this. If we right click, sorry guys, and then gpedit.msc, and then we open the computer configuration. Okay, let's see this here, computer configuration, then go to the administrative, I think Windows setting, and security, and then he's saying here Windows setting, system services. So local, I think, system services, not here, system services, administrative templates, maybe. Here it doesn't appear as system services, but let me see here. He is saying that, let me show you also. If we go and see this group policy in action, let me show, or let me go and see if it will appear in certain way, or in here we will go to the our POW and then see our, this is the domain group policy. Okay, not the local group policy. So if you open, not there, the Windows setting, not system, we go to the Windows setting. So it is Windows setting. Okay, and system setting. So here is go to we go to the Windows setting. This is the group policy of the domain, not the local group policy, and then open security setting, you go to security setting and then, or Windows setting and then security setting, okay, and then not this one, so security setting, and then we will go to system services. So this is the one, this is a way to go to system services and disable the Bluetooth. There is another way. You can close the Bluetooth by closing the service. So for the Bluetooth to work on the machine, there is a service in the Windows that should be running, something called Bluetooth service. So you can disable this service. I will show you all how you can do this if you can go further. Okay, again, so here if you go to the computer configuration, and then we go to the control panel setting and then services, and then we have the Bluetooth. There is a service called Bluetooth support service and Bluetooth audio gateway. So we can close this one, Bluetooth support service. This is how we can disable the Bluetooth. So we can disable it from here as a service, okay, or we can do it from the system services as the Spiceworks says. So we can configure it to disable the Bluetooth service. So we can go further down, and this is the Bluetooth service support, this one. So we can close this one, okay. So we can disable the Bluetooth using the Windows setting and then system services, or we can disable it by the way that I have showed you all now. So now we can do this concerning the Bluetooth and turning the Bluetooth while not on, and then the system must notify the user when a Bluetooth device attempts to connect. So for example, if you need to transfer something from your laptop to a mobile phone or something, or the opposite, your mobile phone need to send you something to your laptop, some notification should be set to the user. So for example, if I'm using my mobile and opening my Bluetooth on my mobile to send something to my laptop using my Bluetooth device, so there should be a notification for me saying this. So we will do this by opening the Bluetooth, more options, and then alert me when a new Bluetooth device wants to connect. So this is also should be done. So we can do this to notify the users when any devices using Bluetooth technology wants to connect to it or to the laptop. Open setting, so now if we go to Bluetooth and other devices here, and then more Bluetooth options, here we can see alert me when a Bluetooth device wants to connect. So this is good, and show the Bluetooth icon on the notification area, so the Bluetooth will appear down, okay. So this is done, we have it already. And then administrated accounts, okay, must not be used with application that access the internet, such as web browsers, or with potential internet sources such as email. So if you have a local administrator account on the machine, or if you need to troubleshoot a machine, okay, using your local administrator account, be sure not to use this account to access the internet, okay, or any other things, so it could not be hacked. This is one of the things. So do not use an administrative account to access the internet. If you need to use administrative account, you can use it only to troubleshoot a problem on the machine locally. So for example, like a driver or software or something, but do not use it to access the internet. Use another account, or go with the user account or a standard user account. So this is to help you not to have your account hacked, okay. So do not use any administrative account to access the internet, especially the local administrators accounts and the domain admin accounts. This is one of the things that you do not use your domain account to access the domain admin account to access the internet, sorry. So this is it, we can continue. we have here some exceptions. For example, he's saying that you can access some secured websites using HTTPS, or some tools the local administrator could use using these tools use HTTPS or connect to the internet using a secure protocol. So these are accepted or exempted from this. Okay, you can use some exceptions by using some tools that use HTTPS. This you can do it by using your administrator account. Okay, so technical means such application whitelisting can be used to enforce the policy to ensure compliance. Anyway, we will talk about application whitelisting using the app locker. So this is a second, or this is one of the things here is saying if a flow application is exploited while running as a privileged user, the entire system could be compromised. So he's saying that if you are using a browser using the administrative account, this browser could be hacked and your password could be hacked also. Okay, so this is one of the things, or this is one of the explanations. So this is one of the things, not to use your local administrator account to access the internet. I think we can pause this really quickly. Anyway, we will continue. You can, for example, use your firewall to block the local administrator from accessing the internet. We have done it already in the POW. Remember that we have a group policy to block any user from accessing the internet, okay, except for the Azure administrators. Okay, so this can be done using a group policy or using a firewall, something like the Sophos or FortiGate. Okay, so we can do this. This is one of the recommendations. And then Windows 10 non-persistent VM should not exceed 24 hours. So he's saying if for example, if you have a virtual desktop and it was deleted or refreshed upon logoff, the organization should enforce the session must be terminated within 24 hours. This could ensure any data stored on the VM that is not encrypted or covered by credential is deleted. Anyway, he's saying that if you delete a virtual desktop or a virtual machine, I think you should do a policy to enforce the sessions to be terminated within 24 hours. I don't know, actually I'm not using this kind of technology in my lab, so this is a recommendation. How we can do this, I think this could be done if someone using VM or VMware or Hyper-V environments. Anyway, another thing here is to have Windows 10 account lockout duration to be configured for 15 minutes. So if a user type the password to log into the Windows or to domain, he type his password incorrect for 3 times or 4 times, his account will be locked for 15 minutes and then it will be unlocked after that, and then he can log in again. Okay, so this can be done using a group policy, and this will be done using the default domain policy. So we will apply this kind of setting to all of the computers and servers in the domain. Okay, so we will do this through the account lockout policy. You can do it for 15 minutes or for 0, or you put 0. What we mean by 0? 0 means that the account will not be unlocked automatically after a duration of time unless the admin do this. So if you, for example, have the account lockup duration for 15 minutes, the account will be unlocked after 15 minutes. If you put 0 instead of 15, that means that the user will not be unlocked, user account will be unlocked unless the admin tell him to be unlocked by checking or by clicking unlock. Okay, so either or. Okay, so let's continue. Let's check and see the account lockup duration. If you go to the default domain policy, let's see how or what is applied. So if you go to the default domain policy, let's see here, right click, not this one, we need to go to default domain policy and edit, and then we'll go to policies and then Windows setting, okay, and then we need to go to the security setting and then go to local policies or account policies, sorry, account lockout policy. Here we can see that account lockup duration is 0. That means that if the account is locked, the only one that can unlock it is the admin, and this should be done manually. If you put something other than 0, for example 15 minutes, that means that the account will be unlocked after 15 minutes automatically without the intervenence of or without the action of the admin. Okay, and here is the account lockout threshold. When the account will be locked out, or it is locked after 6 invalid login attempts, if you type your password incorrect for 6 trials or 6 times. Okay, so this is it. And reset account lock off after so after, for example, unlocking the account, you need to reset the account lockout counter. So this will be done immediately after unlocking the account. I think I means 9999 minutes. That means that immediately, I think. Let me see, or let me work with the recommendations. So here we have it 0, and if we go to the PDF, it says that it should be 15 or 0. Okay, we will go and see. It's saying it is less than 15. This is a finding. Excluding 0. Okay, so this is a finding. Okay, so configuring 0 requiring administrator to unlock the account. It is more restrictive and it's not a finding. Okay, this is it. So we have done it already. We have already in our group policy, this is done. Okay, his account is locked out until administrator unlocks it. So this is a best practice and it is more restrictive. So let's go and continue working. And this is not a finding. Okay, so let's continue working with the other recommendations. So here the number of allowed bad login attempts could be configured to 3 or less. Here we can see that invalid login attempt is 6, so I need to make it less. Okay, we should make it a 3, not 6. Okay, so this is one of the things. So we not leave the user to type the password more than incorrect more than 3. Here is saying that you have it more than 3. This is a finding. So I have it as 6. So this is a finding. I need to make it less. Okay, the period of time before the bad login counter is reset must be configured to 15 minutes. Okay, so this is also the bad login attempt. This is the one we need to put it as 15 minutes, the same as the account lockout duration. But anyway, he's saying the value is less than 15 is a finding. So remember that I have it 99999, so it is more, then this is not a finding. Okay, so we will continue working with this one. 15 minutes, so we have it as 9999, so it should not be less than 15. Okay, so to reset the lockout counter, this should be exactly the time for unlock the account. Okay, so here is saying, okay, the account lockout feature when enabled prevents brutal force password attacks on the system. This parameter specified the period of time that must pass after failed login attempts before the counter is set to 0. Okay, so the smaller the value is, the less effective the account lockout feature will be in protecting the local system. So we are doing it more than 15. We have to add as a best practice to add best practice is to do it as 9999. So we have this like this. It's 99999. Okay. Then the password history must be configured to remember 24 passwords. A system is vulnerable to unauthorized access when system users recycle the same password several times. So I can use the same password several times, more and more. So I can use my same password. Also, for example, if my password has expired, I can use the same password more than one time. So this is not to be allowed. So what we will do, we will have something called password history to remember 24 passwords. So what we will do, the password history will remember the last 24 passwords that I have used, and then he will block me from using this 24 passwords. So he give me 24 times using 24 different passwords, and I am not allowed to use them anymore. Okay, This is it. So a system is more vulnerable to unauthorized access when the system user recycle the same password several times without being required to change a password to a unique password on a regular schedule basis. This enables users to effectively negate the purpose of any so ever. The default is 24 for Windows domain systems. DoD has decided this is appropriate value for all Windows systems. So let's see the password. Remember password history, so you can use 24 different passwords, okay, and then for a certain time, and then you are not allowed to use them anymore, okay, or to repeat them anymore. Let's see this password enforce password history. Let's see if what we have in our domain. So if we can go to enforce password history to account policies, password policy. So all of these are related, or these best practices are related to the password and the account. So here we can see password history is 13. Okay, so this is 24. We need to change it to 24. Keep password history 4. Okay, so we need to change it. Less than 24 is a finding. Okay, then the maximum password age must be 60. What we mean by this maximum password is that the password should only be used for 60 days, and then the user should change his password. Okay, this is opposite of minimum password age. Minimum password is the amount of time the user should use the password, okay, and then he need to change it. So for example, if I have put a password and then I have changed my mind and I need to change it, I will not be able to do this unless 1 day is passed. So this is called minimum password age. So I cannot change my password unless I have 1 day 1 day this password was used. So I cannot change it immediately. Okay, I could change it after 1 day. So if I have a password, for example, and I put it for my account, and then I need to change my mind to put another password, I'll not be able to do this unless 1 day has passed. So this is the minimum password age. The maximum password age is opposite. You can leave the password for 60 days and then you need to change it after this time. Okay, so let's see. Here we have 90 days. This is the minimum password age, so 0. That means I can change it immediately. I don't need to wait for any time. As for the maximum, you need to have it for 60 days, not 90 days. Okay, so this is one of the things, to have it as 90 days, not 60 days. Okay, and putting 0 means that it will be like password never expire. Okay, so this is a finding. So here we have the minimum password age 0, 90 days for the maximum password age. Okay, and then we can go and see another recommendation about the minimum age should be at least 1 day. Okay, permitting password to be changed in immediate succession within the same day allow the users to cycle password through their history database. This enables users to effectively negate the purpose of mandating periodic password change. So I will not give the user the ability to change his password unless 1 day has passed. So this is the minimum password age. So we can do this actually, but actually you can leave it as 0, but anyway it's a best recommendation to leave it as 1. Okay, so we will do this. Then we need to have the password minimum to be 14 characters. So you need to have your password to be more than 14 characters. These characters could be numbers. It will be a combination of numbers and letters, capital and small letters, and special characters. The more the password length is, the more it is secured. So you need to have your password, or the at least your password, to be minimum of 14 characters. Okay, this is will make it more strong, or it will be more not be easy to be hacked. The more the characters of the password will be, the more difficult you can hack it. Okay, anyway, so we will go and see also our best practice. We can see, I think in my domain, I think I have leave it for 7, so we need to increase it. Okay, to send it from 7 to 14. Okay, we need to do this. So this is one also of the practices to make it more for crack. And then we have password complexity. we need to enable the password complexity option. What we mean by complex passwords: increase strengths against guessing and brutal force attack. This setting configures the system to verify the newly created password form complex. I think complexity here means that you can use special characters or some characters. Okay, I think what this is by mean by password complexity. So let's see first here what is my mean by password complexity. Okay, let's see here. Windows password complexity. Okay, what is password complexity? Okay, what is password complexity? Must be 6 password complexity rules. Okay, let me see here the password complexity rules. Okay, the password complexity rules, it means that this is some rules: must not contain the user account name. So if you have an account or a username with some, or you have, for example, your username as Karim, you are not allowed to use Karim as part of your password. Okay, this is one of the things. And you cannot use one or more two consecutive characters from your user full name. So for example, if I have my username Karim, I cannot use K and A, these letters, in my password. It should be 6 or more characters. It must contain. So let's continue, guys. Here we can see that the Windows password complexity rules: you should not use your password, or you should not use your username as a part of your password, and then it could be more than 6 or more characters. It's saying here 15 for the Department of Defense, and then it should contain alphabetic uppercase A to Z, the same, and lowercase a to Z, and digits from 0 to 9, and special characters. Okay, so this is the accounts. Okay, here we can see that this is what we mean by password complexity. So we should enable this option. So we need to go to the group policy and enable this option. So by not enabling this option, our passwords could be only numbers, could be only names, could be only numbers, could be only letters. So by enabling this password complexity rule, we are forced to use or to make our password a combination of numbers and letters, uppercase, lowercase, and special characters. So we need to go and enable this option. So password must meet complexity. So here we can see that it is enabled. Okay, so this is the one, and then we need to go and do something else, or make another option, which is called reversible password encryption must be enabled. This is a kind of option that, or an option used that will make your password vulnerable for hacking. So I need to disable this option. It means, or he's saying it, that it's essentially like storing a clear text version of your password. So by enabling this option, your password will not be encrypted. Okay, so it will appear like if you are using a clear text password. Okay, so let's continue, guys. Here we need to disable this option. So you will go and disable. It is already disabled. So now we can continue. The system must be configured to audit login. So here we need to audit the login attempts of users on the system. So maintaining an audit trail of the system activity logs can help identify configuration errors, troubleshoot services disruptions, and analyze compromise. Okay, or analyze compromise that have occurred, as well as detect attacks. So we need to configure our Windows 10 system to audit account login. So what do you mean by account login? We mean by account login that every attempt to log in to the system should be recorded in the Windows 10 audit system, or in the event log system of the Windows. So we need to activate an option to make the event log of the Windows 10 system to log the account login. Okay, to log the account login attempts. We will see this First of all, we need to do something. We need to enforce a group policy, something like audit force audit policy subcategory setting. We need to configure this option to be enforced on all of our Windows 10 systems, and then we need to activate the audit option to audit account logins on the Windows 10 machines. We will see, first of all, we can have a command, or we can enter a command in the Windows 10 to see if we have already opened this option or not. So for example, if I now check my Power workstation, I don't have the audit of account login activated. So how I can know this? I can know this by editing or by putting this option. So let's see how we can do this. So we'll go and type this command, and if the audit of the account login attempts of the users is not activated, I will activate it from the group policy. So now we can go and see if we open the PowerShell on the POW. So now we can go and see the audit. Here we'll tell him run, or you can do this not from the PowerShell, from the command prompt. You right click and paste and then press enter. Here we can see that, let's see here, account credential validation, account login. Here we can see that no auditing, so account login is not audited. We need to open the account login credential validation to validate the username and password. This should be opened. Okay, so we need to validate this option, account login credential validation. No auditing, this should appear as audit. This can be done using a group policy, so we will do this using a group policy. So let's see how we can do this. So these are all of the things that will be monitored or it will be audited. Okay, one of them is the account login credential validation. So we need to do this, we need to do, and there is a lot of things you can audit. You can audit login and logif, you can audit account lockout, you can audit changing of usernames and passwords, changing of groups and members of the groups. So we must audit account login. Here we can see audit credential validation. Okay, so here we can see that we will open a group policy to or we will configure a group policy to open the audit of the account login audit credential validation failure. So what we mean by this, if a user try to put or to log into a system using a wrong username and password, this should be logged in, or should be put in the event viewer, I mean. Okay, so this is mean by audit credential validation failure. So what about if the user try to put or to log into a system using a username and password and they are successful or they are correct? Also this will be logged, or it will be put in the event log, okay, or event viewer. So let's see how we can do this. Credential failure, okay, this is one, and we should be very careful. Also we need to enable this option, okay, from the security options under Windows setting. We need to validate this or to open this option. Okay, anyway, so we will continue. So we need to go and validate or to open this option, system audit policies. So we will go there and continue. So we'll close this and then open our, not the default domain policy, so we will have this configured to our Windows 10 hardening group policy. Okay, because this default domain policy will be done to all of the machines. Okay, I don't need this to be applied to the server, or if you need this to be applied to the server. Okay, so audit credential validation, account login. So here, let's see here, he's saying that credential validation records events related to validation test on credentials for a user account login. So here he is validating your username and password. If they are correct, you will log into the system and it will be recorded. If it is not correct, it will be validated and it will also be recorded. So if it's your username and password are correct, it will be recorded. If your username and password are not correct, it also will be recorded. So let's go and configure this option. So we'll go to I think go to account login maybe, or detailed tracking. Oh, okay, account login, then audit credential validation, and then we will configure it. So here this is description saying that it's allow you to audit events generated by validation test. Okay, so anyway, you need to take care that volume is high on domain controller, so you do not need to enable this option on a domain controller. Okay, default on client editions no auditing, default on server edition success. So this option, if enabled on domain controllers, it will make a high volume of logs. Okay, but I think a recommendation is to put it on the clients only, or on the Windows 10 workstations, and on the servers you can only log in the success, not the failure. Okay, so this is one of the things. This is the recommendation, but anyway, we will do it only for the clients, not for the servers. Okay, so now we will audit it as we will do it as failure. Okay, and apply and okay, and that's it. Then we need to go to the other step, the same credential validation, success and failure. So we'll do the same, the credential validation. We will log or record the success attempts and the failed attempts. So we go there, success and fail. Okay, we have the two. Okay, so this is the thing. Then let's go and continue working here. Audit account. What we mean here by this, any change to the security groups should be recorded. What I mean by this, if I got to the Active Directory and changed the membership of a group or created an Active Directory group, this should be recorded. This should be recorded on the domain level and on the local level. So for example, if I go to my Windows 10 workstation and created a local group or a local user, this should be recorded. This is done from the account management. Okay, so we need to validate this or to activate this on the server side or in the domain side and the local side. Okay, so this will help us to know which one of our IT users have created a user or a group, or if a hacker is created a user or a group. Okay, but we need to take care that enabling this kind of option on the domain controller will be of a large volume. So we'll have a large audit volume or large audit event logs. You need to clear them or to clear them every now and then. Okay, so now let's continue. So now we will do security group management success. So here he's saying that you will audit. Okay, here is saying security group management records events. Security management or security group management records events such as creating, deleting and changing of security groups. Okay, so he will record the creation of Active Directory groups, deleting of Active Directory groups, changing the membership of Active Directory groups, and this also applies for the local groups and users, or the groups on the Windows 10 workstation. So let's see how we can do this also. So we will apply this. So we will continue and apply this kind of option. So let's go and apply it. So we will go to account management, but I will do this not from the default domain policy. I will do it from a group policy I had dedicated for hardening the Windows 10. So we'll go there and work with the Windows 10 hardening. We need to work with this group policy, not the default domain policy, or work with both. Anyway, so now go to policies and then go to Windows setting and then go to security setting, and then we need to go to the audit. Okay, and then account or audit policies, and then account management. Okay, account management, and then enable the success. Okay, creation of groups, and even I think we will do it for the failure. Okay, so we will go and continue. So we need to continue with success. Okay, audit security group success. Okay, we'll go to account management, audit security group. Okay, there is one for the users and one for the groups. Okay, so we have it for the success. Okay, and then I think we will do it also. Okay, for the success only for the groups. As for the users, you also record the successful creation of users locally and on the domain. Okay, so this is user account. We will do it as failure You do it for failure and success, the two. If the IT or the hacker was able to successfully create a user, or he has a failure in creating the user. Okay, this will be done from audit user account here. This is one, audit user account management. Audit user account management. Okay, this is the one, audit user account management. We do it for failure and success. You can do this. Okay, so here is saying that user account management records events such as creating, changing, deleting, renaming, disabling, or enabling user accounts. So this will record all of these events. Okay, so let's continue and work with it. This is for the failure, and then we will do this also for the success, I think. Yes, here we do it for the success of creation of users and the failure of creation of users. We do this success and failure. And then this is one of the most important audit things. You will audit the PMP. What do you mean by PMP? Plug and play devices. So if a user put a USB in his machine, this will be recorded in the event log. So this is one of the most important things. But I recommend that you disable the USB and DVD for the users. But if you have this enabled for some workstations, for example like the laptops or something, so you need to enable this very important feature or audit. So this will help you track plug and play activities recording to connection of external devices, something like USB or external hard disk. So this is very good way to audit. Okay, just wait a moment guys. So let's continue guys. Here we need to enable the option to record and detailed tracking of the plug and play devices in our workstations. Okay, so this will help you to record any device that was plugged into the machine, external hard disk or USB or something. So here we will audit the success. So we will see, or we will audit only the events for successful plug and play devices. Okay, so here we will open audit PMP, and then we will tell him to audit success events. Okay, now then we need to process creation successes. This is one of the audits to audit everything done in the PowerShell. So or not only the PowerShell, every process created in the Windows 10, it will be recorded in the event log. What I mean by process creation success, every process, everything done in the Windows will be recorded, especially success creation of things. For example, here related to creation of a process and the source. Process may be a program, maybe software. It's a process, but this is, I think it will have a lot of logs created, so I don't prefer to do this. But anyway, this will help you to have a trail of events concerning a system or network compromisation. Okay, but anyway, it's the best practice, and he's saying that we need to enable it, so we'll enable it. Okay, this is related to processes, not related to accounts or groups. This is related to the process done on the Windows 10 system. This process could be a system shutdown, maybe a system disk defragment. This is a process. Okay, so here we will tell him audit process, okay, as success, audit process creation as success. Okay, so now we'll go and tell him audit process creation. Okay, this is the one, and then we'll tell him success. Okay, anyway, I think it will have a lot of logs recorded, but anyway, and here is saying you must also audit the login and log off of users. So we will have an audit of the creation of users, user accounts and groups, and the log off and login, or we record the audit of log on and log off of users on the machine. This is very critical when you need to have or to investigate a login or log off of a user on a certain machine. This should be very helpful. Okay, so we need to open this kind of audit account, but this is for the lockout. Okay, not for the login and log off. This is for the lockout. So we will record if a user account was locked, and you all know that the account will be locked off or locked out if he have invalid login attempts. Okay, so I think he's recording the lockout of the accounts, but also you can audit the logon and log off of the users on the machine, successful login and log off, or failure of login and log offs. Anyway, so we will audit the account lockout only. Okay, but we can audit the login and log off. Okay, as we can see here. Okay, but here we will have account lockout failure events. Okay, so this will record the account lockout. Okay, so here he's saying that account lockout events can be used to identify potential miscellaneous login attempts. So for example, if a hacker try to access an account or try to use an account to access your system and he failed, this should be recorded, okay, as an account. And also he tried your account until the account was locked. This also may be an evidence of miscellaneous login attempts. Okay, so we need to validate or to enable this feature. And then also this is one related, we have another option to record group membership using login tokens. Okay, I think this is related to group membership successful login. So here we'll say, I think here is recording which user from which group has a successful login on the machine. I think this is related to group membership of a user login token. Anyway, this is also need to be enabled. I don't know exactly what he mean by this, but I think this is what I understand from what is written. Okay, anyway, so we will enable also this option from audit group membership. So I think this will give us something related, I think, to the memberships of the groups. Okay, and then login and log off success. So he will give us also a trail of log off records. Okay, log off records of the user. It's an interactive log off. It is recorded on the local machine. If it is a network share, it is recorded on the system accessed. Okay, anyway, so it will record log off of the users, okay, on the machine. This is also one of the things. So you can record the log off and login. This is also one of the things. So we need to validate or to open audit log off success. Okay, so we need only the audit log off success. As for the login, we will audit the successful login and the failure of login. Okay, so here we can see login failures. We will audit the login failures, okay, or record the login failures. Okay, but he is not giving us the successful. He will audit only the login failures. Okay, so here we will audit the login failure, and then we can continue working with the recommendations. So here is saying to us what exactly he will record. Okay, login success. So we will login success, successful logins and failure logins. So this will be done, success and failure. So the log off will be only for the success log offs. As for the login, it will be for the successful login and the failure login. Okay, so we can go further. System must not be configured to audit special logins. What is the special logins? Special logins, we have administrative leverages that can be used to elevate process. So you can log in with a standard user account, okay, and then you need to open a software that needs administrative leverages. So you will run as a different user and then put your administrative password and run the software. So this also could be recorded, and it is prohibited, by the way. The secondary login should be disabled. We have done this in a previous video. So this is also should be recorded. Audit special logins, or even he can log in the administrative rights. So if you have an important user or administrator, or you have a local administrator that is doing something on the machine, all of his events or his process should be recorded. Okay, so this is also one of the things. So let's type here success. So let's return back to the description. Here is saying that special logins will have administrative leverages and can be used to elevate process. So he will record all of the local administrators event, and I think also he can record the domain admin accounts anyway, so, or the local administrator. So he will record everything related to users that having administrative privileges. So let's continue. And then must be configured to audit object access, file share failures. So it also will record access to file shares, okay, and failures. So we need also this to be opened on the file server. We need to audit successful file share access, and I think not for the successful file share access, the failure file share access, because this will be related to the hacker anyway. So we also need to open this kind of option. Audit file share records related to connection to a share on a system, including system shares. Also, by the way, you can access partitioned hidden shares. This also will be recorded. So this is a very good also thing to record. So we'll audit file share failure. This is also should be recorded. File share. This should be done on the file server, by the way, not on the, but we will do it on the file server for file share. We'll do it on the machine or Windows 10 and on the file server. So okay, and then I will stop here at this one. So this is the end of our third part of the video. I will stop at this part, okay, and we will continue working after that from version 2.2.0762. So we will continue working with the fourth part of the video from this point, or we stop at this point and we'll begin our fourth part from the next one. Hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.